Hi, I'm Hannes Tschürtz, founder of Ink Music, a music agency here in Vienna. I'm its founder and CEO. It's been around for 20 years and we've been doing pretty much everything you can imagine in the music industry so far. Coming from label, publishing, being a sync agent, being a booking agency, a promoter, having and running a ticketing agency. So we just recently decided to let the live department go and pretty much shut it down after 20 years. We still have some 200 shows that we already booked that are going to happen in the future, but we stopped booking them and let go a couple of people, personnel. And the reason for that is a rather complicated story, but of course it had to do with COVID too. It's pretty much a type of exhaustion. A couple of people are pretty close to burnout. And we are very close friends, and we had a lot of intense talks of what this did to us and what it's gonna do with us over the next course of the couple of years. And it coincided with the development of the company that was actually a pretty positive one. So it's not really a necessity to close a department. It's rather a very, very conscious decision of a group of people that thought about their personal future on the one hand and the company's future on the other hand. So it's a very, very complicated story on the one hand and a very simple one on the other one. It's 2021 now. We think that we are able to really run a label and a publishing house as it is, which was not necessarily easy to go with, say 5 years ago or 10 years ago in a market like Austria. But now we feel it's the right time. It's actually possible. So the market grew, it developed well. We had actually tremendous success over the last couple of years, especially with a number of really successful bands and productions with international awards. So if not now, when? That was the question we asked ourselves. The live department was always a very, very important part for the whole company to get things going, to strengthen the development of bands. And now we feel it's the right time to let it go and move on just by being a label and publisher. The development in the local market is that different to 10 years ago or 15 years ago. There are a number of live agencies around that actually made a pretty lively market and competition within that agency field. That wasn't the case 10, 15 years ago. So you have a choice pretty much. It's not necessary that one company does that 360 thing that we did for 20 years. It's an opportunity, but it's not a necessity. On the other hand, for the label, that means you can really focus much more on the work that you do as a label, meaning the artist development, the product marketing. And this in return is also a necessity. You need more work. The work field gets more and more diverse. When you release a record these days, it's so much different to 10 or 20 years ago, especially because you need to think internationally from the start, else you probably don't really have a chance unless it's a really very specialized local product in your native tongue or in some really specific niche. But else you need to internationalize quite quickly. You need to think of a ton of things, different formats, CD, LP, digital, also all the social media, the classic media. It's becoming a very, very fragmented type of work for everyone involved in the business that surrounds the artist, especially and particularly on the label side. To focus more on that work and actually to do it properly, you need a different type of leverage compared to, again, 10, 15 years ago. More work, more risk, more money, more stuff to work on it probably. In return, that heightens the chance of actually being successful, but on the other hand, it's also a risk. And that's a conscious decision to take that risk. The decision to rather focus on the label side than on the live side might seem as a counterintuitive one in the short run, but in the long run, it's the opposite. We've been a label for 20 years. We have quite a catalog. And if you look at the development of the music industry as such in total, especially the major labels are doing quite well because of their catalog. So all that fragmented business and the micro incomes from the different streaming platforms and all that, this is really something that only adds up if you have a certain amount of catalog and a valuable brand plus a valuable catalog with a lot of artists that are active. This could be one strategy, and of course this is a big disadvantage for any new artist and new label. If you now start a new company, a new label, a new artist, It takes ages until you finally get some money off that catalog. On the other hand, we profit from a backstory of 20 years already. You have to be very, very patient and think more about something that's ahead 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, and something this development can grow into. It's not a story of here and now necessarily, but you need to have a long breath to actually get through to that point where you eventually can earn money with that. So any new product needs to have a cycle of rather 5, 10, 15 years than just think about the immediate sales that you could have had in the shops a decade ago. This is a very different business to 10 or 15 years ago and needs a very different thinking.